Welcome this amazing woman to the stage, Miss Alison Feliciano.
Hello. Hold on, I'm going to get myself settled here. I don't know this. Get it right here. Let's give it up to Miss Alabama. She's doing a great job. So she's playing. That's right. I am from New York. So.
Yeah. All right.
But I just want to share with you a story about a family I know. Husband, wife, 3 kids, dog, beautiful house, 2, 3 cars, couple of businesses, and they worked very, very hard. They just, put their hands to the plow every day. And so the industries that they were in failed. It was, they had no control. It happened. It didn't matter what they did. It was gone. It was done. And they lost everything they had. Lost everything. Their wealth, their possessions, their house, they closed up shop and had to relocate their family from one state to the next. And I have personal permission to share that with you because that was me. My husband and I owned a mortgage and real estate company. I've been in that industry for 24 years. I am really that old. This is hair color. And so the fact is that, that was what became our reality at that time. So let me give you some background. Like Ms. Brooks said, I am from New York, born in Brooklyn, raised in the Bronx, so don't mess with me. There will be problems. My mother died tragically when I was 8. She was just 38 years old. My father, who I didn't live with him, but I did get to know him, died when I was 14. I was raised by my aunt and uncle. Every 2 years in my life, from the age of 8, someone in my life died. Aunts, uncles, from the age of 16 to 20, all of my grandparents gone. My aunt and uncle, who I then called mom and dad, died, one in 96, and my aunt 20 years later, the same month, 5 days apart from her sister, my mother. And so that's been a part of my story. And so at 22, yes, too young, but I got married. I thought that I was in love. And 11 and a half years later, my husband asked me for a divorce. He's now married to my ex-best friend. That's another seminar. Those tickets are on sale in the back. So I never thought that I would marry again because, honey, I could do that all by myself, okay? But I met the love of my life in 2003, and we got married in May of 05. And we haven't looked back, but we've been through more in 8.5 years of marriage than some people go through in a lifetime. So, like I said in the beginning, we did, have a great, great run. Our companies, I love the fact that in an industry where most people have people that they train, then end up leaving them to be their competition. And not good. We had not one person left us because we really created an environment of dreaming big. Now, dreaming big came easy for me then because I grew up poor. First 8 years of my life, dirt poor. There were times where I only had milk to drink, and that was it. So then you come from nothing, and then you begin to make 30 to 70 grand a month. That's something, right? And so our company was called Dream Big. But we then moved from our 6,000 square foot home in New York to a 1,200 square foot apartment in Florida. That first night was not an easy one. And I can tell you, we did lose everything we had. My house that was almost worth $1 million, the best offer I got was $424. And the bank still took it. Lost my cars. Done. I tragically had to even sell my wedding gown so we could feed our children. And so that was not easy. And you would think that was the worst of it, but no. take our children. So my family log file is like this far up the ground. You know, you think that he took the best friend, he leave my kids alone. But that did not work. And so while we lost everything we had, I by God's grace didn't lose my mind. But let me tell you, I did not handle everything with grace. You know, back while we were still kind of going through our storm in New York, I had troubles with sleep. And so I tried everything. I read boring books, you know, some law journals. I took stuff over the counter, nothing worked. So I tried, well, you know what? I'll have a glass of wine. Out like a light. It worked. Until the one glass didn't work anymore. So then it became 2. Till it became 3. Until it was the whole bottle. Per night. Not healthy. Not healthy. Now, of course, I gained like 1,000 pounds. Who would think that many calories is in this many ounces of wine? I mean, I could see if I was, you know, a whole box of Krispy Kreme every night. But nonetheless, and so I had to come to a place where, you know, did I believe God to do what He said that He would do, or did I just believe in God? And this is when my life began to change. You see, I was beginning to rebuild my career, and I had some revelations here and there about life. But I had to begin here. I had to begin with my thoughts. And so I forgot who said, but it is so important. If you don't have a mentor, get one. If you want to mentor, please do so, because I have a great mentor, and she taught me. She said, could things be the way they are because you are the way you are? And what one thing could you change that could change everything? And I really had to kind of take stock of what was I thinking. Because I was thinking, I can't sleep. How are we going to feed these kids? How are we going to survive? And that's what my mind was consumed about. And I began to think about the sermon that changed my life. It changed my life when I heard it, but I didn't put it into practice until years later. It's from the book of Ezekiel, the Valley of the Dry Bones. And I want you just to be patient, because I want to read a couple of those verses, because, well, first of all, it's deep, number 1. But number 2, you might be in your valley of the dry bones today. You might be where you're trying to get a business off the ground. You're going through something with your spouse. Your kids are driving you crazy. Whatever your valley is, you might be there today. And I want to share with you that it doesn't have to stay that way. Okay, so God was walking Ezekiel through this valley. Now, at that time, they buried their dead deep. So it was odd that there would be all these bones on top. And so God told him, prophesy to these bones and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath into you, and you will come to life. I will attach tendons to you and make flesh come upon you and cover you with skin. I will put breath in you, and you will come to life, and then you will know that I am the Lord. So that's what he did at first. He prophesied to the bones. And it said that there was a noise, a rattling sound. The bones came together. Now, could you imagine what that has felt like? What's the noise that you're hearing? What are the words coming out of your mouth saying? And so the first thing that I had to learn to do is break the silence. I had to break the silence. It didn't matter that I was a praise and worship leader, so I know how to sing. I could sing some songs. I know how to pray. I had to break the silence of the thoughts in my head and the words that I spoke to myself about losing everything, because I was focused on what? What I had lost. I lost focus on what I could be. And so break the silence. God asked Job, who's heard of the story of Job? Man, I felt like Job a lot. God said to Job in Job 38, 12 and 13, have you commanded your morning? Have you commanded your morning? Command means to instruct or give orders. We were created as commanding beings. If you believe that you are created in the image and likeness of God, as I do, in Genesis, God said, let there be. He didn't do any hocus pocus, He said, let there be light. He commanded it to be, correct? And so, if you realize that He called those things as though, not that, He called those things as though they were, and it happened. So if I'm created in God's image, if I am now a joint heir of the whole estate, can I not do the same thing? I had to switch of what I was speaking into my day, speaking into my life. And so I had to stop focusing on, and I had to turn away from that battle. That every night about 9 o'clock was calling my name. Because I was so afraid that I would not be able to sleep. I was so afraid that I could not get this mind to rest. I had conditioned myself to what I didn't have instead of focusing on what I could have. And so when you change your words, you change the reality of your world. When you command your morning, you establish a divine assignment for your day. And when you begin to realize that, so how many times have you gotten up and the first thing in the morning you stub your toe? And so you say the whole day is going to be horrible now. Right? I can never get ahead. I never have money at the end of the month. Then that's what it's always going to be. But you got to command your morning. The word says that there's life and death in the power of your tongue. Okay? And it also says that, whatever you choose, meaning he that loves it, what's it? Life or death? Blessing or cursing? What do you want? Speak it, and so shall it be, correct? So God says that He places before us blessing and cursing, life or death. So today, choose what you want. And that's the first step in changing your destiny, in changing your current state, in changing the reality that I thought for sure. I thought for sure when it was happening, I was just destined to a life of poverty. I started out poor. That's just how life was just going to be. Until I began to change what my mind and my heart said to me, because you don't understand. And I am the person that the glass is half full. Come on, team, let's go do it. But the words that I told myself every night, it was shame. And look at you. You can't even kick this. And I really was beginning to set up my life. And until one day, I caught the revelation that I can either choose to speak blessings and life, or I can still choose cursing or complaining or grumbling about what I didn't have. Second, keep yourself whole. It says that the tendons and flesh appeared on them and skin covered them, and they were becoming whole. Now, in this mind, it's your heart. Don't compare yourself, because I did it. How come they didn't lose their house? How come they didn't lose their business? How come they're thriving and I'm not? I work hard. I do this. And so you've got to keep yourself whole. Watch your thoughts, and this I learned from my mentor. Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. It becomes your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny, and it all starts with your thoughts. And once I then began to decide life or death, blessing or cursing. And when I began to change daily, daily, because your thoughts are your primary connection to what you have in front of you. Your words are your second connection. So how you think and feel, you draw to you. So I remember it was in one of the first speakers, there was someone over here that talked about how come they didn't have a man. You know, if you keep on thinking, how come I don't have a man, what you don't have will continue to be. Right? So if you want that ideal spouse, then stop hogging up the whole bed and sleep on your side. Keep his side nice. If you want that spouse, then don't take up the whole garage. Put your car to the side. Make room for him, okay? And so I know personally that this has to be worked on daily, and I mean daily. Because as I got ready to believe God, not just believe in God, but that as I got to a place where I could believe God and take Him at His word, and that His word does not return back void, I saw my life change. So, after you break your silence, and after you keep yourself whole, it then says to let God breathe on you. Because your destiny does not have to look like your history. I can't change yesterday. I mean, I wish I could give all these pounds back. Okay? I can't change it. I can't lose those feelings, or because I walked with shame for a long time. So I can't change it. However, my destiny does not have to look like my history. So when you let God breathe, it said that I prophesied as He commanded me, and breath entered them, and they came to life and stood on their feet as a vast army, as an unstoppable woman. So you break the silence. You keep yourself whole. And then you let God breathe on you. And you change your words daily. Even the things that we say in jest. Okay? Because, sometimes when I'm, hanging with some of my friends and they might say something funny. Right? So it is natural to go, oh, you're so crazy. You're so stupid. That was funny. No. So now I walk and go, that was hysterical. Because I don't want to speak anything over you that I won't want to be spoken over me. Even when it's in jest. Okay? And this is for real, because it was a story of a man whose daughter was ill. There was no cure. And he said, I would give an arm and a leg if they found a cure. And years went by. And she was still sick. There was still no cure. One day he had an accident. And he lost an arm and a leg. And 6 months later, they found a cure. Here's another scientific example. There's a doctor in Japan called Dr. Emoto. And he did an experiment. He had 2 dishes of water. And in one, he spoke words of life. I love you. You're beautiful. You're so wonderful. You're awesome. And on this one, he spoke, I can't stand you. I hate you. You'll never do anything. And then he poured those into petri dishes and froze them. And after some time, the ones that he spoke life over had beautiful formations. But the ones that he spoke the negative over had ugly formations. So then he took it a step further. He had 2 bins of white rice. And this time he said nothing. But he wrote, I love you on one. And the other one, I hate you. And after some time, he went back, and the white rice that had I love you stayed white. But the other one turned completely dark. So then he took it another notch and went to this body of water. It was like a river. And they were having trying to clean up this water because it was contaminated. And he stood there and he spoke words of affirmation. I love you. You are awesome. You are clean. You are whole. And almost miraculously, that water cleaned up. Your words, the power of life and death is in your tongue. Here's this last example. In the children of Israel, they were out in the wilderness, right? And 12 of them were chosen to go and then come back with a report. 10 of them came back complaining. Just complaining. But only 2 of them said, no, but we are well able. God says that we can have this. We are well able. Well, the other 10, what they were saying got caught up in the ear gate of the people that they had to report to, and they had this negative feeling. They felt like grasshoppers, right? But the other 2 felt that they were well able. This is called the 1 to 365 ratio. Because God told them, for every day that you complain, I will keep you in the wilderness for 1 year. We've got to be careful. Because for every day that we complain and speak negative words over our life, you could potentially keep yourself in a year of bondage. What will you choose? Life or death? Blessing or cursing? And when I began to practice this, some would say that it was a miracle. But I know that I began to walk in what Peter said that we are, a royal priesthood. I'm the daughter of the Most High King. I'm a joint heir to the estate. The whole estate is mine. And I began to see, because as I began to speak these words over my life, what you decree, when you decree a thing, so shall it be. It must be. It is irrefutable. You are a child of the Most High King. As an unstoppable woman, you walk in that royal priesthood. Life or death. Now, I'm speaking 50 pounds off of me. Trying to compete with some of these pageant women over here. Telling you. Becky and I talked about it, right? When we had to do the exercise, I told her, it's so good to see you again. In the last year, I lost 55 pounds. And she was like, woo! Go ahead, watch next year. But I had to stop focusing on that I couldn't sleep, that we wouldn't make it, that we couldn't feed our children. And I walked into God's promise for me. There are over 7,000 promises in His Word for you. And if you took one every day, it would take you over 28 years. So you don't even have to go make things up. Right? They're already there for you. Speak it over your life. And it took practice, and it takes perfect practice to make perfect. Every day, focus your mind. I start out my day, my first part of my day is spent with Him. I sing, and I read, and I journal. And today, I drink water before I go to sleep. And today, we have 3 businesses. And we live in a home and are about to move into a bigger home in February 28th-ish. But if we could not see that, and if this revelation had not come to me, it's possible that I'd still be in that little apartment in Florida, overweight, drinking a bottle of wine every night. Man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I didn't get stuck in what, most people do. They just focus on this glass is half full or half empty. Life or death. Blessing or cursing. What will you choose? And in closing, I want to read to you, and I'll be more than happy to get to anyone. This is what I speak every day. It's from Deuteronomy 28, 1 to 14, and I'm going to paraphrase. I am blessed in the city. I am blessed in the field. I am blessed in my down setting and my uprising. I am blessed socially, physically, mentally, psychologically. I am blessed relationally, interpersonally. I am blessed. I am blessed physiologically. I am blessed. Every part of my life is blessed. I speak into my day, and I download prosperity and success into my day. I speak over those that I love. I speak prosperity and success. I speak to my government that they will come into divine alignment and that they would lead morally and ethically. I speak into my business. I speak that my business is successful and that we see only increase and no decrease. I speak into my home, that my home is a haven of peace. I speak into my loved ones, that I speak that their lives come back into alignment. I decree and declare that wealth and riches are in our house. I speak into my mind, peace. I speak into my heart, courage. I speak into my feet that there are paths that I can walk on so I can overcome every obstacle. I am the head and not the tail. I am first and not last. I am above and not beneath. I am loved by God. I am chosen by God. I am protected by God. Today shall come into direct alignment with the plans and purposes of God. Every good and perfect gift is from God. Today is my gift, therefore it shall end perfect and it shall end good. In Jesus' name. So what will you choose? Life and blessing so that you are an unstoppable woman, or the latter? Thank you and God bless.
Wasn't she powerful? Yeah. You felt inspired? Got to thinking about the thoughts now. Speak things into existence. There is power in the tongue, right? So remember what you say and how you say it, okay? So we're going to have, of course, more giveaways. That's what we always